Sports Vibes TV. I'm your host, QuisNY, and I'm coming at you with another Knicks video. I want to shout out my subscriber, Nicholas. He's the one that requested this video. He wanted a video detailing some of the moves the Knicks might make in free agency. And what I did in this video, I kind of focused primarily on unrestricted free agents, because with restricted free agents and trades, there's so many variables, and I'll make sure I'll do other builds where I include those. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you're there when I drop them and you're notified. With that being said, let's get started. Okay, so right now I made a chart. It details the player name, it has the salary, and it has the age. That way you know I'm not trying to bring in a whole bunch of old players in to slow us up. So right now, this is the current roster. So right now, under contract for the 2021 season, under contract for the 2021 season, we have Dennis Smith Jr., who's making about 5.6 mil. Then we have Frank Ntilikina, Frank Nitty as we call him. He's making 6.1, and Alfred Payton rounds out the point guard group. All of them under 26 years old. Then at shooting guard, we have R.J. Barrett, Damian Dotson, who right now has a cap hold if we give him a qualifying offer. We have Wayne Ellington and Reggie Bullock. At small forwards, we have Kevin Knox, of course. We have Iggy. That's it. That's the only ones we have under. Well, you can put Reggie Bullock as a small forward. Same thing with Wayne Ellington. They're interchangeable at this point. Power forwards, we have Julius Randle, unfortunately. And as you see, he's still making a lot of money at 18.9 mil. And then we also have Bobby Portis, who for some reason is also making a lot of money. He's making almost as much as Julius Randle. And then Taj Gibson. And also we have Kenny Wooten, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we brought him up at the end of last season. He's on a two-way G League contract. That's why you're seeing his pay is so little at $350K. And at center, we got my boy Mitch, who's making a paltry 1.6 mil. That's what happens when you get drafted in the second round. So that brings the grand total to $95,573,809. So that's below the cap, or the projected cap. I think last year was right around 110 million. So, and also I did the average age. So right now the average age of the team is 25. Okay, so now this is what I would do. So before I get into it, let's just look over here, and I'm just going to show you some of the point guards that are actually available, that are unrestricted, mind you. So there are some names, and the person that I went to is someone that's on a lot of people's radars, and that's my guy, FVV, Fred VanVleet. And what I did is I gave him 20 mil. I feel like 20 mil is reasonable because remember, we have the Rona going around, and they also had that skirmish with China. So, the money that the NBA is making and the money that's going toward the cap is also going to be a lot lower because of those negative impacts, those negative financial impacts. So I'm thinking Fred VanVleet is going to accept a similar offer to what Malcolm Brogdon got last offseason. And, to me, they're similar players. They're not necessarily superstars. They're not necessarily stars, but they're good quality, second or third options on a strong playoff contending team. Well, I wouldn't say second or third, more so third option on a strong contending team. And then we're going to retain Dennis Smith Jr. And then we're going to bring up Lamar Peters. He was making some waves down in G League. If I'm not mistaken, for the Westchester Knicks, he ended up averaging 17 points, 7 assists. And in the month of January, he had his own highlight reel on the G League social media. I think he went off he averaged 22 and about 7 or 8 assists for that month. So he's promising. All of the things that I've reviewed and looked at, he's a similar player to Fred VanVleet. So of course I'm going to be keeping Mitch, even though we didn't get to that yet. So him and Peters working a nice little two-man game. That'd be nice to look at. Pause. Next, we're going to have shooting guards. Before I get into it, let me move over just to show you guys what shooting guards are currently available. So we have Bazemore, Courtney Lee, Andre Roberson. There's some players out there. Kyle Korver, who knows if he'll stay or if he'll retire. But the person that I went with is someone that Knicks fans should be familiar with, and that's Joe Harris. Before the Rona hit, everybody was looking at Joe Harris to make anywhere between 12 to 15 mil on the open market, which would still be a raise from what he's making now. But because of that financial impact, I think he'll take the 12 mil. So we're going to offer him 12 mil. He's going to accept the 12 mil. And now we have a nice backcourt mate with RJ. We can either play him at the 2. Well, we could probably, we can either play him at the 2 or RJ at the 2 and the other one at the 3. And then we still have Frank Nitty. I'm moving Frank Nitty over to the 2 because he's not doing it as a point guard. So let him be a little, 3-and-D, work on his jump shot, make him be a little perimeter 3-and-D player. Throw him at the opposing team's best offensive guard. So at small forward, let me just show you guys what the options are at small forward. All right. And no, we're not bringing Melo back. I'm good on that. So I decided Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder is a nice piece, nice little 3-and-D wing. He's a good role player on a contending team. And I'm tired of the Knicks being at the top of the lottery every year. I want this year for the team to be contending. And in order for us to contend, we need role players that can help assist our key players in doing what we need to do to win. And I think Jay Crowder is one of those pieces that you can plug. You don't have to build an offense around him. You don't have to give him the ball. You just put him on the court. You say, this is your assignment. Play D. And when you're open and you catch it, shoot. And he's good at that. So also at small forward, we have Kevin Knox and we have Iggy. So now we're going to move over to power forward. We kind of trimmed some of the fat at power forward. So we're still going to have Julius Randle and his bloated contract. And then we're going to have Kenny Wooten. We're going to bring him up. We're going to give him a little bit more playing time and see if he deserves to be on something more than a two-way contract. If he's on a two-way contract, that figure is going to change, but he has to prove himself first. And then at center, I'm already going to show you Mitch. I already mentioned him. All right, update. And at center. So for center, what I did is the initials HG is for Harry Giles. If you're not familiar, he's currently on the Sacramento Kings. He was drafted, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 years ago, but he was injury prone. And the issue with him is he just has had bad luck. He came out of the college season injured, and going in, he was rated as a high prospect. They were talking to him about him as a high 10 or top 10 pick or a top 15 pick, and it just hasn't materialized. So if you guys are looking for somebody that has a high, ceiling, but very low risk, then that would be Harry Giles. You can get him for probably $5 million. The Kings declined their player option for him. So for $5 million, that would be more than what the Kings could offer. I think the Kings can only offer $3.6 million. So if we can get it for $5 million, that'd be nice. If not, there's also Aaron Baines. He formerly of the Celtics, and he played for the Suns, I think, last year before they got kicked out the bubble. He's also a nice player that can play behind Mitch, and he can also step out and hit 3 occasionally. And that's something that's going to be very, nice in this offense. If you notice, I have a bunch of players that can actually hit the 3 and spread the court out. RJ is a slasher. So the more shooters we have around RJ, the better he'll be able to get into the paint and get to the rim. So also, we have to account for the draft picks. We're drafting at number 8 in the first round, and we're also drafting at 27 in the first round. So I have those cap hits accounted for as well. And now we have dead weight. I know you're looking at these figures, and if you total them up, you're looking at about 10.4 mil in dead weight. And I know you're going to say, Keys, what's going on? Why you got all this dead money on the cap? First of all, 6.4 of that, not my fault. That's Joakim Noah. We're going to be paying him for the next 3 years. The rest, Gibson, Ellington, Payton, Bullock, that's 4 mil we can give away. As long as they're out, that's why we signed them to these kind of deals, knowing that we wanted this flexibility. We wanted to maintain flexibility. So, that's part of the business. We'll get them out of here. And now for the fun part, I'm going to show you what I would, view the rotation. This is how I would view the rotation. So we have the visual. Like I said, we'd have FVV, starting at the 1. Then next, you can have either RJ or you can have my man Joe Harris playing at the 2 or the 3. Then, we don't really have any other options since we're paying Randle 18.6. He's going to be, slotted in that power forward. And then we got Mitch. So now when it comes to the rotation, when I build a team, I want to maintain, flexibility, and I want everybody to be able to play multiple positions. Because look at the beauty of this. So now we have FVV. Boom. We can move FVV over to the 2, and then we can move RJ to the 3, and then we can bring DSJ off the bench. That's one option, or that's one rotation we can do. Another thing we can move Jay Crowder in, move Jay Crowder in at 2 and have DSG at the 1. These aren't starting. My starting lineup was what I showed you before. These are just rotations you can mess with in the game to see which gels the most and which works together the most. So boom. Now you can have Kevin Knox. He can play either at the 3 or the 4. So right now we have a lineup consisting of DSJ, Jay Crowder, Knox, Randle, and Mitch. Is it the best lineup? No, but it's a possibility. You can, in practice, you can put them on the floor, see how they work together. At least you can stretch the floor a little bit with Knox and Crowder. If not, you can throw Harris back in the mix if you need some additional shooting. FVV, he can also still play the 2 if you need some additional shooting. This is what I like, the flexibility and shooters all around. So that way, even if you have RJ in the game now, well, right now, Randle can't really shoot like that. But there's other rotations you can do. You can move Kevin Knox over to the 4. You can bring my man Iggy in. Now you have more shooting. If you wanted to, you can replace Crowder and you can put RJ back in. Now you have space on the floor. Well, if DSJ can, get his jump shot correct, he's shown the ability to hit the shot, but we'll see. It's something he's gonna have to work on. Boom. You also now, and Harry Giles, I said he can come off the bench. We're paying him $5 million. He can relieve Mitch. If Mitch gets in foul trouble, we can bring him in. You know what I mean? And we still have Lamar, and we still have Wooten. So, right. Oh, and I didn't even, when I was making this, I had completely forgot about Frank Nitti. I ain't even put Frank Nitti into the rotation. So any one of those 3, either the guard or either the point guard or the wing spot, you could put Frank Nitti in there and rotate. And this is when I'm building a team, whether I'm building it on 2K or if I'm just in my spare time writing on a piece of paper, I like to have a roster where we can spread the floor out. We can get we can create some driving lanes, and we still have bigs that can protect the paint. Right now, is Knox best at protecting the paint? No, but we're not necessarily in an era of basketball where we have dominant bigs. So throwing Harry Giles at him should suffice, or even Kenny Wooten should suffice. It should be, serviceable. And this is what I see for the Knicks when I'm building a contender. I'm not trying to build a team that's going to trust the process or any of that nonsense. I'm trying to get a team together that can actually contend and have a fun play style and please the fans. So let me know what you think. If you like this roster, if you like how I built the roster, let me know in the comments. Hit the like button. And if you have any other suggestions like Nicholas, make sure you drop that in the comments too. I'll make sure I respond, and I'll let you know if it's something in the works. All right? So with that being said, this is Sports Vibes TV. I'm your host, QuisNY, and I'm out.